Everyone, welcome back to the Digital Deep Dive Show with me, Reed Daly. If you're new around here, this is the show where we meet with entrepreneurs talking about their new technology platforms, owner-operators of how they are using digital technologies to enable growth and scale. Before we jump in the show, I just want to highlight the fact that all ideas, thoughts, etc., are mine and mine alone. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Digital Deep Dive Show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can also check us out on Twitter and Instagram, Digital 3D Show. And with all that out of the way, let's jump into the show. This week, we're going to feature on news stories in and around tech because tech is booming, literally. So there are a ton of layoffs as a result of the market impacting tech and the different valuations of the businesses and trying to preserve capital at the bottom end. We are not going to focus on that at all. Instead, I wanted to talk more about new feature sets coming out this week or the last week or so with a couple different platforms. So we've got to start obviously with Twitter. So Elon Musk has purchased Twitter for roughly $44 billion and since taking over has talked about different feature sets that he's going to bring to the market. The ones that I'm most interested in and I've looked on various news sources and obviously Twitter and even Elon Musk's tweet. So all of these are, still in the pipeline. So let's just remember that. But the first one is blue checks. So there are different narratives coming out about the blue checks. Some are sort of the fact that if you are, let's say, a government site or a company or a nonprofit, that they will give you a blue check. That's one of the rumors. There's other rumors that you can pay somewhere between $8 and $20 for a blue check and gives you verification. Now, I see the badge of honor, or that's probably not the right word to say, the kind of elitism of the fact that I've got a blue check. I know it's probably more important on Instagram, in my opinion. But what I'd really like to see is maybe blue checks being deployed to, yes, for verification, but also for folks that maybe want to have a different class of service from a content production or dissemination standpoint. It's almost like they're provided a larger set of capabilities, instead of, let's just make this up, videos only being 10 minutes, maybe they get access to share 30 minutes of videos and they're either paying for this or it's as a result of being engaged and kind of a reward for being on the platform. The next rumor that I've been hearing about is a rev share for content. So the idea here would be that an individual working on behalf of a publisher would be able to create content in almost like a paywall. But instead of jumping from Twitter to, say, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, insert whatever your favorite publication magazine would be, they would just, provide a payment of some sort. It could be fractional in terms of like a couple percentages of a penny or a dollar or whatever, but that you would sort of stay within the Twitter app and not jump back and forth. This is a very interesting model. I think others have highlighted the fact that with other sort of social media techs around the world, I think I haven't actually seen it, but I've heard that WeChat sort of has this sort of feature, but I've not personally experienced it. And then the last feature is really talking about longer formed videos with also paywalls to them. So, it would be increasing the video to almost 45 or an hour. This is the one that I'm probably most interested in as someone who creates long form content in the forms of audio and video podcasts. This one would resonate with me. But I think all of these platform ideas are less about just, minor enhancements, but ways to keep customers or users on the platform and stop jumping to other platforms or stop jumping from the social platform to Safari or Google or whatever your browser is. All right, so we're going to jump from Twitter to Meta's Instagram, and it was really interesting. I hadn't paid attention to the gentleman who's running the show over at Instagram, but he releases new features via video post on Instagram, which makes total sense, and it's really it's just more of a I would almost say it's like funny to see, the guy leading the ship kind of talking about features almost like a video or a Vine, but it makes sense for the platform. So the biggest thing with Instagram is they are going to do scheduling. So they're rolling out the ability for creators and businesses, so those are different accounts, to schedule photos, carousel posts up to 75 days directly from the Instagram app. So if you've been around Instagram, you know that there are third-party scheduling tools that do some of this. You can pay more for more features. It's not perfect, but it works pretty well. The fact that you're going to be able to do this from within the mobile kind of cockpit is pretty fantastic. I think individuals who really use Instagram as sort of that top of the funnel, almost middle of the funnel, but more top of the funnel awareness activities, certainly influencers will benefit from this feature. The other thing that Instagram wanted to highlight was the fact that they've revamped their web experience. They've noticed that more and more people are using large screens, so they've sort of reoriented the way that the app works on the desktop or laptop or whatever you're using. Okay, so we're going to jump from the social world into the soccer world. So Google is launching a cross-platform feature to make it easier to follow FIFA World Cup. So Google's rolling out a bunch of updates across the platform, making it easier for fans to start to follow games and game highlights. You'll be able to search for phrases like FIFA World Cup or World Cup, and you'll get the latest scores from the tournament. You can subscribe to the tournament notifications by hitting the bell icon, plus you can subscribe to individual team alerts under notification menus. Scores of the World Cup matches will also show live stats and probability graphs, which I think is pretty neat. If you want to follow individual maps but don't want to search every time, the updates, they can get pinned at the top of your home screen. It's pretty intuitive. I watched the little GIF for how to do this. Now, if you are a YouTube TV subscriber, I am not, but I'm actually interested in becoming one. You'll be able to watch them via Fox and Fox Sports 1 gameplay with real-time highlights, which is a fantastic user experience from what I've seen. And then you'll be able to see some limited content, it looks like, on FIFA Plus, Peacock, and Telemundo. So I couldn't read from the press release if that means Peacock is also streaming the game. So I need to look into this because I want to watch the U.S. play and get through round number 1. Next up, we're going to talk about Asana and some of the more recent releases that they've dropped into their enterprise solution. So the kind of headline here is rapidly aligning enterprise-grade goals. So distributed teams are prevalent within the enterprise today, making it critical for executives to have easier visibility into progress against strategic initiatives, as well as accountability for business outcomes. Now, businesses have access to advanced reporting and dashboards, and that's pretty nice little feature here from the Asana Work Graphs. These updates give executives a bird-eye view into the status of the organization against a goal. So this is the new feature, is really their goal sort of solution. By connecting goals in Asana with missing critical tools like Salesforce, like Microsoft, like insert any tool you like, ServiceNow, et cetera, it's not all of them, but many of them. Ongoing goal progress is automatically updated. So if you are producing a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly update, you are going to be able to see this supposedly through the Asana queue. Goal status can be easily communicated across teams and entire organizations through reports and dashboards to make sure everyone is moving into the same direction. Goal snapshots surface key goal information and glance at leaders. So this is the sort of message from Asana's press team. I am very bullish on what Asana is doing. I think their multi-homing feature is by far one of the best features in terms of all the program and project management tools for tracking and traceability. The fact that you're able to do integrations with third parties always is impressive to me. I think the API that they've got is good, not great. In terms of the data you can get, I think it continues to get better from what I've seen. But the fact that I'm able to pull all this information and surface it up into a unified dashboard against my goals is pretty critical. So when I think about like increasing cross-functional efficiencies by connecting tech stack in Asana, it's where the market is going. It really helps cut across silos. Now, what I'm thinking is on this one, you're going to continue to see that individuals want to do their goal reporting in Asana or third-party solutions like Tableau, Power BI. And so, there's going to be sort of a best practices, and then Asana is going to roll out features, but you're going to see a slew of third parties that are going to get good or great at pulling off all of the data from Asana's goals and then presenting that to leaders and then tracking and tracing against it. So, expect this to take 6 months to a year to really resonate with users and figure out adoption processes for different businesses. But this is one of the things that I think more and more businesses are going to say, like, in the similar fashion to, OKRs, how do we set our goals at a enterprise or leadership level, and then how do we disseminate those and then track against those? So pretty cool little feature from Asana. I can't wait to kind of really dive into this one, and I'll come back with my thinking and feedback there on the Asana work graphs and their goal feature. So a couple other things that came out this week, just notable to mention. YouTube launched a primetime channels, an attempt to make YouTube's people's home portal for viewing. YouTube has launched Prime channels in the US, letting users add paid channels like Showtime, Starz, Paramount Plus, etc. So they're basically trying to become sort of a hub, no different than many of the other competitors I've seen in the place. Netflix launched their ad-supported tiers this week, and it saw a very nice little uptick in users or user subscribers. And then you're finally seeing a couple different things rumored out of Apple they are working on an advertising product, which I thought was pretty interesting. It came out a couple weeks ago. I haven't seen like any definitive quotes yet from either Apple or sort of leaked documents, but the idea is that the Apple job posting is looking for a senior ad tech figure to build a demand side platform that's, if built, would potentially allow brands to advertise within Apple's own walled garden. So one would assume that they're thinking about putting together something either in a, metaverse-like experience, possibly. You could also argue that it could be in apps or in their app store, but my bet's on that Apple is getting closer and closer to whatever world they're thinking about in AR or VR. We've long been hearing about the Apple goggles or glasses and also the Apple TV. So the idea that they could serve up ads while you're walking in the street with augmented reality, or if you're in VR, serving ads, or in your car, sitting and enjoying things and being served up ads. We all know Apple likes to own the app or the end-to-end user experience, and having this component to it would allow them to do that. All right, that wraps up this week's episode of the Digital Deep Dive show. I know it's been a couple weeks. The kind of flow of the show is going to be somewhere between news and news highlights and kind of what it means or why it should matter to you. We're going to start to have guests on the show, from owner-operators that are using technology to enable their business to founders of tech companies. On the next episode, we're going to have one of the co-founders of Tackle AI on, talking about his business. And we're going to be talking a little more about some social media tools and techniques that I'm using and that others might consider using as they're building out their kind of social profiles in more of a business lens in coming episodes. But if you have any other ideas or topics that you want to cover, you're a tech founder and want to kind of fly the flag for your brand, don't forget to DM the show. It's a Digital 3D show on Twitter. And you can find me, Reed Daily, at Reed Daily. That's ReedDailey. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.